All right, so I felt like I needed to get on here just to talk about something that's coming up for me as far as the whole twin flame thing. It's just what's coming up for me. Um, so what I realize is, I know I've had said like many times on here that I had three, right? But it's so weird because I remember meeting the first one, okay? And when I first laid eyes on him, there was this recognition there right away. Like I recognized him. He felt very familiar. And I couldn't put my finger on it, right? Like I've said before, like I didn't know what that was. Like I just was like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Um, and of course, there was the runner chaser between us, like the back and forth, you know, situation. Um, and it was, it was pretty intense. And I think it's because I was so mesmerized by the fact that he felt so familiar in the story, right? So, anyways, that only lasted for like 2 years. And then shortly after that, I kind of walked away and I I don't know, I started like dating again. And I started seeking out too as well. I think I started this when I started going to church and shit like that. But during that time of dating, going to church and all that, and I kind of slowed down with the dating as well. But as I was getting ready to like kind of stop doing the whole dating thing is when I met the second one. And with that one, there wasn't a recognition right away. Like I did not recognize him, but he recognized me right away. Like he told me straight up, like I feel like I've known you before. Like you feel very, basically familiar. But there was this intense like energy thing going on. Like I always knew like what was going to happen before it would happen when it came to the both of us, like because the energy was so intense. It was so fucking intense. Like it would literally give me anxiety. Now, what did feel familiar was his voice. I don't know. It's like his voice felt very familiar. It was like I heard it before, even though I didn't. I mean, in the story in this lifetime, I've never heard it, but it felt very familiar. I recognized it, and that didn't even last that long. The second guy, but it was like I knew the energy was so intense. There was this like pull between the both of us. It was so intense that I knew when it was going to end, when we were going to go our separate ways. Like I felt it, I knew it. And with anybody else, I would have never felt that. And I didn't feel that with the first one. Okay. So this is where I'm kind of like, I don't know what the first one was to me, even though I felt like it was a twin flamey thing. And even though I don't even know what a twin flame is, I'm only going off of what has been told to us, what we have read in the books and whatever. I really don't know what that was. But yeah, so the second one, it didn't last that long. But the moment we separated, the second one is when all that shit started to happen as far as like the Kundalini awakening and, just everything just like started to come up, right? What they call it was the dark night of soul, right? I was basically purging, like things were coming up. I was up till 2 and 3 in the morning, like crying, just, on my knees, like, why is this happening? Just all that crazy loopy shit that happens with the whole twin flame thing, right? All of it, right? The numbers, all the synchronicities, that seeing the name everywhere, just everything, right? All that crazy shit that happened with the second one, but with the first one it didn't. I didn't have any of that. All I had was the recognition, the runner chaser, but there was no dark night of the soul, no Kundalini awakening, none of that. In the story, all this stuff was real, okay, to the person. It was all fucking really real. It is what it is. It was what was happening to the person. So, anyways, man, I held on to this person because I couldn't shake them. Now I could shake the first one. It was easier for me to walk away. And I always kind of felt like, oh, because I didn't know about the whole concept twin flame. I didn't know about it. But I don't even know now if that's what it was. I don't know anything really, but in the story, it's kind of weird that with that person, I didn't have what I had with the second one. And it took 5 years for me to get over that, the second one, that, to really get through the whole, whatever you want to call it, the process, you know, it took about 5 years to get through that whole thing. And then, like, shortly after I decided, I just kind of let go in a way, and started really just kind of focusing on myself and I started dating again. And then, shortly after, just dating, whatever, is when the third one came along. And it was the same experience as the first one. It was like I recognized him right away. Like when I looked in his eyes, there was that recognition right away. Like, oh my God, I've known you before. Like I've seen you before, even though I haven't seen you. It was just that familiarity. And then shortly after, and it was intense. Like I could feel that he felt it too through the energy. Like I could feel that he was feeling the same thing, just like I felt it with the first one. I felt like he felt that with the second one. I didn't feel that, but he did. He saw the familiarity right away. I didn't see it until me and him separated, the second one. So, anyways, the third one, I felt it with him and I could feel he felt it too. And that's when, eventually the runner chaser started to happen with me and him. And it was pretty, I always could sense when he was going to pull away or when he was going to come back around. I could sense all that. Now, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was with the third one. And I don't know what that was with the first one. I even had someone bring up to me not too long ago, and I actually thought about this, but then I was like, that's just the story, right? I don't even know if that's real. But I had someone, ask me, well, do you think that it's possible that you didn't have three and that the twin just was shape shifting into different form? And I was like, that kind of blew my mind. I was like, whoa, hold up, wait a minute, because I kind of thought that at first because I was like, because we're told that we only have one, right? When you read up on it. So I thought, well, maybe he's, jumping from one form to the other, but then that's all just a bunch of mumbo jumbo because nobody really knows. But it's just kind of funny how with the two, the one at the end and the one at the beginning, didn't I didn't have the Kundalini awakening with them, but with the second one I did. And of course, if you listen to a lot of coaches and twin flame teachers, they'll probably say, well, then, that was probably your fake twin flame. And then the second one was the real one. And then the third one is another fake twin flame. Who knows, right? No one really knows. But I figured I shared the story with you because, it's really been coming up for me lately, and the more it comes up, the more I'm just like, what the fuck was that? Really? Like, what the fuck was that? And the thing is, it's so unknown. Like, I'll never know because it isn't a knowing, right? No one really knows why this shit happens to us or happens to the person, whatever. No one fucking knows. It's a mystery. It's truly a mystery. And I'll never know what that was. I will never know because it isn't a knowing. But in the story, it seems so fucking real to the person. It really, really does. it seems so real. And that's why the person tries, ends up seeking out and wanting to know and trying to learn about it. But even when you go seeking out and reading up on it, the person that wrote all the shit, they're only going off of what they think they know it is, right? They don't even fucking know. But they're just assuming what is, whatever's coming up for them, they're assuming that's what it is and they're writing on it, but really no one really knows anything. It's a mystery. It's the dream. Twin flame was just a concept, a made up concept. You know, I mean, apparently these things are happening, right? It's happening in the story. It's happening, and and like I said, you can't beat them, join them, right? But that shit was real to me, like very real to me in the story. I felt it. It was just real, and it was something that I had never experienced before with all three of them. Like I never experienced in the second one. That shit was really fucked up. Like that shit hit me to my core. And like I said, I went through that in the story. I went through the whole Kundalini awakening. I went through the dark night of soul, the purging, and trying to heal whatever that was coming up for me, even though I probably wasn't healing a fucking thing, right? Because it will end when it ends. Okay. The suffering will end when it ends, even if I don't even know if it was suffering, right? But whatever, it will end when it ends. Because, like I always say, you think you're healing an emotion that's coming up, but while you're focusing on that emotion and trying to heal it, another emotion is arising right after that. And you're trying to heal that emotion, and then it goes to the next one and the next one. And it's just like an ongoing cycle, and you're not getting anywhere. You're never getting anywhere with it because you're constantly trying to work on this and that, this emotion and that emotion and that emotion. It's work. All it is work for no fucking, like, you're doing it for nothing. You're getting nowhere with it. It's because it's never ending. The emotions are never ending and they just keep coming. So like I said, it ends when it ends. It ends when it ends. It's pointless to try and focus on healing it. You're not healing anything. You can't heal something that's there 1 minute and gone. It's like fluid. It dissolves. It comes and goes. It comes and goes, and you're thinking that you're healing something that's not even there. It's just right. It may feel good for the moment while you're focusing on it and trying to do this Reiki healing or whatever, clearing it. I don't know. It may feel good for the moment. I know when I used to say mantras and shit, it felt good for the moment because there was this ease. You didn't feel the intenseness of it, of the emotion that was coming up, right? There was this ease when I would say a mantra or an affirmation. That was my go-to. I would say affirmations and mantras. There was this ease. But then shortly after that, another emotion was gonna came. And it doesn't come up the same exact way. It always comes up a little bit more, it's never the same. And then I'm focusing on that one. And then I feel the ease again, right? Because I'm saying the mantra. But then shortly after that, another one comes up, and then I'm focusing on that again, saying another mantra, right? And then I find myself doing it all day, and it becomes tiring. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no getting out of those emotions coming up, is what I'm trying to say here. There's no getting out of it. You think you're getting out of it because you're focusing on it and you're trying to heal it, and then it dissolves, and then another one comes, and you're thinking you're healing it because you're seeing it dissolve, but then another one comes up, so you're not getting anywhere with it. It's like a revolving door. It's crazy. Like it is what it is. there's no getting out of that for real. Like there's no getting out of it. There's no getting out of an emotion arising. I'm not saying, don't heal, don't do, don't do whatever it is you do to get rid of the emotion, whatever. I'm not saying don't do that, but it is pointless. It's pointless because you're not really doing anything. It may dissolve, it may disappear for the moment, but then it comes right back. Another one comes up, then another one. It's just, yeah. I feel like, once you're okay with what's coming up for you, that's when that peace, that Zen feeling, whatever you want to call it, kind of happens for you because it's a neutral thing and it's like, whatever, it is what it is. It's just what's coming up for me. And you just kind of deal with it. Like with me, if I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm sad, I'm sad. And if I'm happy, I'm happy. It's just, it is what it is for me. And that may sound like, oh God, that just sounds like, who wants to go through that? But to be quite honest with you, it's more peaceful because there's no more work constantly focusing on the emotion. It's more like it is what it is, it's whatever's coming up and it will, and I know it will end when it ends. It will just end when it ends. And it may take a while for it to go away, but whatever. And there's no more like taking it personal anymore. I don't take that personal. And even if I did take it personal, I recognize that I'm taking it personal and it's just whatever. That's just what's happening for me. That's just what's coming up for me. And it will stop when it stops. There's no getting out of it. You can use the meditation as a tool. You can use whatever as a tool to try to get out of it, but it will just keep resurfacing itself in different ways because you're trying to control it. You're trying to grab it and hold on to it. And there's no control over what's appearing to happen. Everything is just an appearance. And like, with the whole twin flame thingy, that was just what was appearing to happen, right? But, when there was a person here, I used to want to know why. I used to want to seek out and find out why all these things were happening to me. But now that there's no more person here, as far as like taking it personal and wanting to know and being, seeking and reaching, that's no longer, that like all fell away. So whatever, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, no, I figured I'd come on and share this with you because that was just what was coming up for me. And I don't know. But anyways, I guess that's it for now. Until next time. Ciao.